What's up, you guys? It's Levi here. Welcome to another edition of the Cybersecurity Education Channel. Alright, so this month I'm going to be starting a new series. It's going to be about ransomware. So I'm going to talk about various ransomware cases that happen throughout each month, and I'll post a video once a month that talks about them. I think this is super important because ransomware is on the rise and it just keeps going and going and going up. And I want you guys to see that ransomware can happen anywhere, it can happen any place, and it can happen at any time. So I'll be doing these series every month so you guys can learn from these situations. In these situations, I'm going to talk about 3 different things per ransomware case that I talk about. I'm going to talk about what happened in the ransomware case. I'm going to talk about what can be learned from the ransomware case, and then I'm going to talk about my thoughts on the ransomware cases that I'm talking about. So I hope you guys learn a lot from these series, and keep checking back each month. For July of 2019, I'm going to talk about 3 different incidents that have occurred in multiple locations. So the first incident I'll be talking about is the Louisiana school districts. There was actually an emergency declaration that was made in Louisiana to help these school districts out. I'll be talking about that further. And there's specifically 3 different school districts that were having problems with ransomware that I'll be talking about. I'll be talking about Monroe College. It's based out of the New York City area. And then I'll be talking about city utility called City Power in Johannesburg, South Africa. So not only am I talking about U.S. incidents, I'm talking about an incident in South Africa, showing you guys that this stuff can happen all over the world, not just in the United States. And then one thing of note before I continue on, all of these things are in different sectors too. So this is in a utility/city sector. This is in a college sector, and this is in elementary school/high school sector. So it just goes to show that ransomware can happen in any sector as well. So, all right, so the first one I'm going to talk about is the Louisiana school districts that were affected by ransomware. There's 3 specific ones that were mentioned out in the national media, and these are Morehouse, Sabin, and Quachita. If you guys are from this area, go ahead and post down in the comments below if I announce that right, or if I announce these right. I might have pronounced them wrong, but all of these locations are in northern Louisiana, which is a very poor area of the state from my understanding. It's one of the poorest areas in the country, actually. First of all, I'm going to talk about the Louisiana Disaster Declaration. I'll pull up a news clip here. And this article comes from ZDNet, or it's a clip from ZDNet. By signing the emergency declaration, the Louisiana governor is making available state resources to impacted schools. This includes assistance from cybersecurity experts from the Louisiana National Guard, Louisiana State Police, the Office of Technology Services, the Governor's Office of Homeland Security, and Emergency Preparedness, and others. State officials hope that the additional IT expertise will speed up the recovery process so schools can resume their activity and preparations for the upcoming school year. So, I talked about how this area was super poor. This emergency declaration was made to help these schools out because they don't have the funding to recover from this situation, and so they really need these resources to help them out. So now I'll go through it and I'll talk about various local news articles that I found on these cities. All right, so in Sabin here, or Sabine, however you say it, from WAFB, a local affiliate, the school district released the following statement. So basically the gist of this, at Sabine, they had a virus that disabled their technology systems and their central office phone system. Their school phone systems weren't affected, it was just the office phone system, and the central office phone system is being repaired. The principal of Florine High School in the Sabine Parish said he got an alert at 4 a.m. Sunday about unusually high bandwidth, a lot of traffic coming in, and then they figured out that there was a ransomware virus installed on their system. He doesn't think that any information was lost, but he said What's lost is anything and everything housed directly on the school district servers. He goes on to say that means 17 years of documents he created, speech, test schedules, and master schedules, etc. So yeah, this sounds like a pretty serious situation. It sounded like they were saving all their information out on the share, and that's the only copy that they had of it, which is not a good thing. So it's a pretty bad situation for that school. Let's continue on. The next one we'll talk about, I forgot to include it up here, Monroe City. You gotta love what happens when you have the magic of video editing, so I can add that in there. So yeah, there's actually 4 school districts that were affected. There could potentially be more. These were just what I found in the national media. So according to KONE, another local affiliate, the president of the school board is saying that they were hacked. They're addressing it, and they're very impressed by the response of the school system to address the hack. The superintendent then says, despite concerns growing regarding information loss, the superintendent is saying that that is not the case. He's implying that they didn't lose any information. There's also concerns that there was a ransomware attack, but he goes on to say that we were never contacted by anybody in that nature. They were given some email addresses, but we did not contact anybody. We had our systems protected. That in order to isolate the virus, they had to shut the system down and scan each individual server. They're scanning all of their servers to make sure that they had the virus taken care of and eliminated from their systems. So the national media is portraying that they have a ransomware incident, but they're not portraying that. Something seems kind of fishy to me here. It sounds like a ransomware incident to me that they're trying to cover up, but yeah, this is a confusing situation. All right, so the next one we'll talk about is Morehouse. And this article is coming from myarcamiss.com, another local affiliate in their area. Morehouse Parish was attacked this week. The bulk of our personal files were basically hacked into, said Tab Wilkerson, a Morehouse Parish school board member in District 3. This malware attack was believed to be aimed at gaining access to the system. The only way to get the information back would be to pay the ransom. And he doesn't think that the attackers have done their research. We're the poorest state in the entire United States, and to apply a ransom for our information seems a little short-shielded. Going down a little bit further, he said, fortunately, everything is handled to the extent where it's not going to directly affect or impact anyone. That doesn't really make sense to me, because if the only way that they can get their information back is to pay their ransom, then how is it not directly affecting anybody? That doesn't make any sense at all. It sounds like they don't have backups. And so maybe they just paid the ransom. I don't know. It's if that's the only way that they were able to recover the stuff, that must have been what they'd done. And then the last situation, I don't know how to pronounce this once again, Quashida. I couldn't find any information on local news about this situation, so if you guys live in that area and know anything, go ahead and post a comment down below on the situation in that area. I think the main thing that people can learn from this situation is obviously this is one of the poorer areas in the country and is the poorest area in the state, and areas that don't have funding are not going to spend money on security. But unfortunately, in this day and age, that has to be an emphasis. So if you're working in any type of government, you're working in city government, state government, federal government, you really need to try to get funding pushed out so that these smaller public organizations can afford to secure themselves. And there needs to be a national standard and a state standard set for what levels of security that public organizations should have to help prevent incidents like these from poor areas that can't afford the resources to be able to beef up their security and help themselves. So I'm really glad that the state of Louisiana declared an emergency to help these schools out so that they can get back up and going before school starts, hopefully, and hopefully they can recover all the information that they need. prevent and protect themselves in the future from this incident happening again. I think that's the main thing. Is hopefully these schools were able to learn from this incident, get the resources for this incident, and protect themselves in the future. All right, so the next situation that we're going to be talking about is outside the United States. It's in the largest city in South Africa. It's City Power of Johannesburg, South Africa. If I pronounce that wrong, leave a comment down below. Tell me how I should pronounce it. So what happened in this situation? According to tweets sent out by the city, the first tweet that they sent out, City Power has been hit by a ransomware virus and encrypted all of their databases, applications, and network. And currently their department is cleaning and rebuilding all the impacted applications. Later that day, they tweeted, "The virus has affected our customers' ability to vend, that is, buying electricity, uploading invoices, or accessing their website. It may also affect our response to some outages as the system to order and dispatch material is affected." There was also reports that several people were without power for 12 hours. Because in South Africa, or at least in this district in the city in South Africa, I don't know like if it's like this everywhere in South Africa, but people have to purchase their power in advance, and because the system was down on the website to be able to go in and pay for more power, those people that didn't pay for more power ended up not having power, and so this ransomware caused issues with power outages. This situation is kind of interesting to me because all the areas that I have been in the United States, you always pay for your power after the fact. You get a reading and you pay for it. I'm just curious for you guys watching, do you guys live in an area where you have to prepay for your power? This is a new concept to me. If you are in an area where you have to prepay, leave a comment down below and talk about it. Like, this is really interesting to me. So then the very next day, they sent out a tweet. The City Power IT teams have worked overnight and will continue to work throughout Friday and the weekend to ensure the recovery is completed. We thank the residents of the city of Johannesburg for their patience during this time, and we apologize for the inconvenience caused. So it seems like they recovered relatively fast from this situation. They still haven't said what exactly happened though, so I'm not sure if they paid the ransom or if they had a backup. But either way, they were able to recover quickly from this situation. It could have been a lot worse. So I think the biggest thing that can be learned from this situation is that public utilities need to be extra protected. Luckily in this situation, I don't think that the ransomware hit their public utilities directly, shutting down the utilities. It was just the billing system and the way that things were set up. People had to prepay, and it just happened to be the time of the month where people got paid, and it was time to pay that. And because they couldn't pay it, they lost their electricity, which unfortunately, those systems where people have to pay have to be public so they can get in there and pay. And so it was a really bad situation. If I were to guess, what happened is somebody in the company probably opened up an email or something like that, and got a virus on one system, and then other systems weren't patched within the company, and that caused problems. That caused the virus to spread and then encrypt everything and take everything down. Finally, the last situation that I'll be talking about is the Monroe College in the New York City area. They have multiple sites in the New York City area. Monroe College, based in New York City areas, had ransomware infect a computer on the school network at 6:45 a.m. July 10th and spread. The attack affected all the school's campuses. It took down Blackboard, a learning management software, and the school's website. The college did not shut down because Blackboard is a student learning system, but students that were online students were not able to do their classes because Blackboard is required to be able to do those classes because they upload and watch, they upload documents and watch those classes on there. Work uploaded for all the students would not have been accessible either. So this includes students that aren't online that have to upload their work to that learning management software. They weren't able to upload their homework either. They had to get extensions on their work because they weren't able to upload and they weren't able to print things out of there. Couldn't find what started the ransomware, but many experts, including myself, suspect that someone opened a phishing email that infected a computer And then via vulnerability on that computer, it spread throughout the network because they didn't have all their systems updated like they should, and it was able to take advantage of that. Anyway, the quote from the school spokeswoman, Jackie Rugger, is, "The good news is the college was founded in 1933, so we know how to teach and educate without these tools." She goes on to say, "Right now we are finding workarounds for our students taking online classes so that they have their assignments. We are rolling up our sleeves and we're figuring things out." I just think that quote is a little bit funny because, you know, she's trying to underplay the situation, but let's face it, it's the 21st century. If you're a college and you don't have your online resources, it's a big deal. So what are my thoughts on this situation? Obviously, it seems like the situation happened because somebody opened up a phishing email. Me and other cybersecurity experts think that they opened up the phishing email, that computer got infected, and then it spread throughout the network because other computers weren't updated and they had vulnerabilities where that virus was able to attach to them and encrypt all of them. I didn't find any evidence that the school paid any ransom, but they aren't required to report that, so who knows how they recovered. They seem to be fully functional a week after, so they must have paid the ransom or they must have had a good backup. So what can be learned from this situation? Be careful what you're doing when you're clicking on emails. Make sure that you're not opening attachments from people that you don't trust. Make sure that you're hovering over links and verifying that the link is going to where it's actually saying it's going to. And if something seems suspicious, then it probably is. Organizations need to make sure that they're keeping their systems patched and up to date. So if somebody does click on an email, it just affects that system and that doesn't spread across the entire network. Or maybe it doesn't even affect that system because whatever attachment that was being used is taking advantage of a vulnerability on that system that's been patched. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this content. I'm gonna keep doing this on a monthly basis. I know this was a lot of information in this video. If you guys think I should split this up into multiple segments, go ahead and post a comment down below, and that's something I'll consider for future videos. If you like this content, go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe to get more people aware, to be able to help their organizations, to be able to help themselves, and to be able to help committees and things that they're dealing with. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this content. Thank you for watching, guys, and have a great day.